everyone, I'm Beth with 50 Plus Beauty, and I am super excited to have you here with me today for a fantastic event on my channel. It is something I almost can't believe. I have to pinch myself. It is my interview with Dr. Ken Berry. And Dr. Berry is one of the nation's foremost keto experts, and he is a YouTuber with about 1.5 million subscribers. He has a huge channel. And after doing the interview with him, I can see why his channel is so huge. He cares about people. And in fact, that is why he is doing an interview with little old me with only 145,000 subscribers. He really wants to get the message out that keto means good health and that keto can help all of us not only improve our health markers in a lot of ways, it can help a lot of us lose weight. And I am a testament to that. And in fact, in this video, I will show you a picture of myself when I was topping 200 pounds. I was pregnant, but still, even after I gave birth, in the picture that you will see, I weighed 186 pounds after the birth. I had a very small baby, but a very big girl, because I have a carb addiction, I have come to believe. And if you have problems with overeating and just never being full, never being satisfied, always wanting to eat not one piece of cake, but maybe 2 or 3 pieces of cake, that was me, then I hope you will stick around for this interview. And it is rather a lengthy interview, and I almost divided it into 2 videos, but everything he said was so wonderful, and he covers such a huge variety of topics in this video. I just thought it would not do it justice not to give you his interview in full. So anyway, enough of the chat from me. Let's get right into the interview with Dr. Ken Berry. I watch a ton of your videos. I was paleo about 4 years ago. I was vegetarian, then I went to paleo, and then I ended up coming to keto. So I have been following you for my whole journey. And I weight lift Monday through Friday morning in my basement, and I put you on so I never make comments almost to any video. I'll listen to video after video. I'll just hit a playlist and listen to them and kind of watch them when I'm weightlifting. But I remember I made one comment, and I don't remember what I said on one of your videos. Did I ask for this? Is this what happened? Is this how you contacted me?
Yeah, I think you said something about that we should do a video or something.
Wow. Well, that was very bold of me, because I am just thrilled to death that you're here. And I told my community on that community tab on YouTube, and they were thrilled to death. They're like, oh my, Dr. Ken Berry, that's amazing. And,
Excellent.
I just think it's so wonderful that you want to get your message out even more than it is.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many people out there suffering. And as a doctor, that's what I do. And so I could see 40 people a day in the clinic, yes, or I could help 4,000 or 40,000. Why would I not do that?
I have got tingles listening to you talk, because I can tell that is why God put you on this earth.
That's it. You got it.
Wonderful. And for those of you who don't know Dr. Berry, number one, you got to be under a rock to not know Dr. Ken Berry, but you have to go to his channel, and I've linked him below. His wife, Nisha, she's gorgeous and darling, and she has a wonderful channel. And congratulations on the new home and your 1.5-year-old baby, Beckett.
Yeah.
And what a name, Beckett Berry. Man,
yeah,
that's a cute name. But anyway, you have to go to see his channel, and not just if you're interested in keto, but if you're interested in anything all around health, because he's got a wonderful book, and I have read your book. Actually, I listen to it on Audible when I'm doing my weights, and it is called Lies My Doctor Told Me, and it is all about keto and the high-fat lies. But I have to admit, I have a daughter who's a rheumatologist, and she's trying to take my son vegetarian, which I used to be vegetarian, and she sees me eating all this high-fat stuff, and she doesn't say anything, but I can tell she thinks Bethy's going to have a heart attack like next week. So it's awful. But anyway, getting back to this wonderful man, you have to go to his channel. You really should read his book, because if you're believing the standard medical stuff, a lot of it is led by big food and big pharma, and it's really not the truth. And Dr. Berry, I would love you to introduce yourself to everybody and tell them your journey, because you didn't always look as buff as you are right now.
No, not at all. So I am a family physician. I've been practicing family medicine for over 20 years. And my wife, Nisha, who you mentioned earlier, I would come home from the clinic complaining about some big food commercial or about some big pharma new drug that they were trying to get every patient to take. And she would say, you should start a YouTube channel. And initially I was like, that's foolish. I'm a doctor. Why would I do that? And so one day I came home from the clinic, and she said, hey, did you have a good day? How many patients did you see today? And I said, oh, I don't know, 30, 35. pretty good day. She said, oh, that's wonderful. You helped 35 people. I'm proud of you. Wouldn't it be nice if you could help 3,000 or 30,000 people?
Or 1.5 million like you have now.
And I was like, man, I hate it when you're right, but I guess you're right. I should start a YouTube channel. So I did, and it quickly kind of blew up. Really quickly, it blew me away. I had no idea that it was going to ever become this popular. And I think I don't think the reason it's so popular is because of me or because of whatever I possess. I think it's because people are hungry for the truth, and they're hungry for hope, and they're hungry for true health. Not, oh, here's a handful of pills, I'll see you in 3 months, because that's not really health, is it?
Yeah, no.
But if I can give you a strategy of eating and a strategy of living that actually visibly improves your health, visibly. Yeah. So when you go to the family reunion next year, nobody's complimenting you on your nice trousers or your nice blouse. That's not even what they're talking about. They're saying, oh my God, you look great. Yeah. You look younger. You look healthier. What are you doing? Then I know as a doctor, I've done my job for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and when you say people are hungry, Americans are hungry. And, I was hungry for from about teenage years on up. I would get home from school and eat bread. I mean, I just craved carbs, and I was hungry all the time. That led to eating disorders and weight gain and trying to keep it down. When I was pregnant with my first son, I let myself eat the way I really wanted to eat. And I went from 125 pounds to 200 pounds. I mean, I have a hunger inside me, and I think it's fueled by carbs. And when I became a vegetarian for 5 years, I'm the one, when I ask you, would you mind if I ask about the China study? It was actually me. Because when I became vegetarian, I had watched Forks Over Knives. I got my husband to watch it. I got 2 other couples to watch it. We all became vegetarian and then vegan together for 4 years. Quite honestly, I was starving because lots of rice, lots of beans. I was always hungry. And we all kind of had a sick, it sounds weird, but kind of a green, sick pallor to it. We did not look healthy.
Yep.
And so anyway, I had arthritis. And through a lot of alternative means, I got rid of 90% of it, but I still had 10% pain left. And I kept reading that the paleo autoimmune, which is similar to the keto, not as high fat, but it's, meat and vegetables, that it would kick my inflammation. And so I had to gag to start eating meat. I really did at first, but I did it. And 1 week later, I had no more pain and I had no more hunger. That hunger that had kept me really with a 200-pound woman inside me was gone. And plus I could eat as much volume as I wanted. It was great. So anyway, I just went on and on and on. But Americans are hungry, literally hungry. They're starving. And they've been doing the low-fat thing. It's not working.
No, it's not working at all. Actually, now in the United States, only about 12% of the adult population are metabolically healthy. 88% of us have at least one marker, if not more, of metabolic syndrome, which is the precursor to high blood pressure, to type 2 diabetes, to fatty liver, to obesity, to early death, to suffering, to years in a nursing home, assisted living, that sort of thing. And so I think you hit on something. Americans, we are hungry in this country and around the world. And it's because we've been duped into believing that we should eat a high carbohydrate, plant-based diet.
Yes.
And there's no research to support these high carb plant-based diets. All the research that seems to support a vegan diet or a diet that's high in whole grains and lots of fruits is observational in nature. It's not causative research. It's not a controlled trial that shows causation.
Yeah.
It's just epidemiological studies where people fill out surveys of what you ate in the last year. Yeah. And I don't know if you can remember, how many grapes you've eaten in the last year. No, who knows that? I don't know. No. So people guess, or they try to answer in a way that the researcher won't judge them. And then all that gets crunched. And you can understand right off the bat, that's not even meaningful data, is it? People are they're guessing, just like some of us did on the ACT, which is multiple guess. I don't know. Let me guess C. That's not data. And so then they crunch all that and say, see, there's a tiny correlation between eating plant-based and something else, but that correlation never proves causation. But I think you're exactly right about the vegans. And I was one of my examples was going to be, don't look at a vegan who's just went vegan or has been vegan for a year or two. Give them 5 years and then look at them. The average vegan after 5 or more years on a vegan diet has that pasty, almost green, unhealthy
I got
pallor.
it, and my husband got it.
They're often thin, but they'll always have a little belly pooch, and that's because of the hyperinsulinemia from eating so many carbohydrates.
All the carbs.
Right. And so I think that true health, the reason that human beings even care about beauty and good looks is because it is an evolutionary marker of good health.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you see somebody of a gender that you're attracted to, and they're pasty and pale and they got no muscle tone and they've got a belly pooch, you're not really attracted to that, because that's not good evidence that they can procreate with you and make good genes for the future. That's why we care about beauty and attractiveness. And so I think you're exactly right. True health, being healthy, radiates beauty.
Yes.
Yeah.
And have you seen that channel? Speaking of vegans not looking good, have you seen that channel, Vegan Deterioration? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That is terrifying. These people are like losing teeth, and just their eyes sink in, their face gets longer. It's very strange.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't even, and of course, those videos cherry pick the worst looking vegans. Of course they do. True. But even if you go to the channels of some of the very popular vegan influencers, Dr. Michael Greger is a great example. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look healthy.
No.
He's very bony. He has no muscle tone, and he's got this belly. And it's because he has metabolic syndrome. I would love to check his C-peptide and fasting insulin. I guarantee you they're high.
What is metabolic syndrome in layman's terms?
So basically, when you eat too many carbohydrates, that causes your blood sugar to spike. Mm-hmm. And when your blood sugar spikes, your pancreas secretes a lot of insulin to pull that blood sugar back down. And so we all know that high blood sugar is unhealthy. We know that. But what many of us don't know, including many doctors and healthcare providers, is that having chronically high insulin levels is also very, very unhealthy. It leads to the markers of metabolic syndrome, which are high blood pressure, high blood sugar. It leads to a waist to height ratio of greater than 0.5. Mm-hmm. And so basically you're bigger in the middle than you should be. Yeah. That's right. And nobody finds that attractive, really.
No.
Right? Right, exactly. And so, and that's 3 of, and there's 5 or 6 markers for it. But I really think one of the markers should be, is your C-peptide elevated or your fasting insulin? If you're hyperinsulinemic, then you're not going to look healthy. You're not going to feel healthy in the long term.
Yeah. So too many carbs just really does not help you at all.
No.
And it's so funny that you mentioned that, because my mother and father-in-law, and my father-in-law he's passed, but he was a pastor, and they moved all around Kansas, pastoring Methodist churches. And Darlene was the best country cook ever. And every meal had dessert, but she totally followed the standard American diet. I mean, she really made sure, and she's like, well, you just got to have everything in balance. And she saw me going through these various things, and she's like, well, just eat a little bread and a little of this. You can't survive without bread. But they had every lifestyle disease known to man. Yes. Don had 2 strokes, a heart attack, cancer, and finally a second cancer killed him. And Darlene had a heart attack in her 50s, and then a second heart attack. They both had diabetes. And I feel the same way you do. In terms of my channel, I want people to wake up, women to wake up and realize that they don't want to end up in a nursing home or having these grueling medical problems in old age. It's just, it's heartbreaking. And I don't want that for myself. Yeah.
Exactly right. And it's hard to focus on looking good and feeling good if you're worried about your blood sugar, or if you're worried about your bowels and, where's the nearest bathroom, or if you're worried about your skin and my skin's just not doing right, or my hair, my hair's falling out and it's thin and brittle. I don't understand what's going on. What I'm trying to do for the whole world is to help people realize there is a proper human diet.
Yeah.
And it includes meat. I'm sorry if that offends a vegan or vegetarian, but the proper human diet includes meat. It includes fatty meat. It includes lots of meat. And we can break this down as much as you want to, or go into any direction you want to. But it's terrible advice to tell somebody, oh, just eat everything in moderation. That's terrible advice. And your parents suffered because of that advice.
They did.
And the rest of the family also suffered through their suffering as they suffered, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It tasted good, but it wasn't good for us.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And so there are specific things that human beings have been eating for over 200,000 years.
Wow.
And there are things that we never, ever ate until the last 20 years or the last 50 years. And so when health gurus come out and say, oh, you should eat vegetable oil as opposed to butter or lard or beef tallow.
Scary.
That's idiotic advice. Because first of all, there's never been a long-term study showing that canola oil or soybean oil is safe for human consumption.
Yes.
They've never done a causation study.
Yeah.
But humans have been eating animal fats for 250,000 years.
Yes.
So that's probably healthy.
So in a nutshell, for those people that don't know the basics of the keto diet, why don't you explain that? And then I want to get into something I'm really interested in, because my whole family gets on me from time to time about the high fat nature of this. And is it really safe for your heart and all that? And I did read your book and it makes sense, but I would love you to explain it to everybody. First, the nutshell view of what is keto and how do they do it?
Sure. So my entire premise is that there is a proper human diet spectrum, that all humans of any age and any condition, they should eat somewhere on this spectrum of a proper human diet. The proper human diet does not contain sugar, whether it's definitely added sugar, but also there are many natural foods that are very, very high in sugar, like raisins, like grapes, like bananas,
honey,
like fruit juices, like honey, like fruit smoothies. And these things are promoted as healthy, right?
Yeah.
And they trick people into thinking, oh, I'm going to make a fruit smoothie every morning, not realizing that they're getting a 3-day supply of carbohydrates from that one smoothie. A proper human diet does not include grains. It does not include wheat, rice, oats, or corn. These things have only been eaten for about the last 10,000 years. For the rest of the time human beings have been on this planet, we never ate grains as a staple part of our diet. If we were starving to death, we might eat a few grains or seeds here and there. But as far as it being the majority of our diet, like it is in the U.S. currently, that's only been for the last few hundred years that we ate that much grain. You've got to get rid of the grain. And then a proper human diet does not contain vegetable oils, shortening, margarine, Crisco, canola oil, corn oil, any of this stuff, soybean oil. It's new. It's new to the human body. We've only been eating it for a few decades, or maybe 100 years in some cases, in the case of cottonseed oil. That's not natural. That's not normal. That's not going to lead to better health or better looks.
Right. So basically, the keto diet is vegetables, except for the high starch vegetables. And it is a lot of meat, including fatty meat. It is butter, which I love butter. It's awesome. And it's really just avoiding the sugars and the carbs, even the things that they say are healthy, like rice and quinoa and all that stuff.
Right. Exactly right. And so you brought up rice. We could talk about the China study in relation to that.
Yes.
People see the inhabitants of China and Japan and other Eastern countries, and they say, oh, look at how skinny they are, how slender they are. They're very healthy, and they eat lots of rice. Well, the thing that you don't know, because you don't have access to their lab work, their lab results, is that the majority of adults in Asian countries are pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, or hyperinsulinemic. Okay.
I had no idea.
Now, they carry their fat differently than you and I. People of Caucasian descent, of northern latitude descent, if we eat too many carbs, we get fat. Boom.
Yes. Yeah.
Asians and Indians don't do that. And so on the Indian subcontinent, they might have that little belly pooch like the big vegans have, but they just won't get morbidly obese like a white boy like me would.
Right.
And I used to be morbidly obese. I weighed 297 pounds.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I was pre-diabetic. I had just a list of medical problems that we can talk about if you want to. And so when people equate slimness with health,
Mm-hmm.
And so let's do some real talk here. I don't think you can be metabolically healthy and be obese. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think a quick check of your lab work, and I'm going to show, oh, you're hyperinsulinemic.
Right.
You've got several markers of metabolic syndrome. But what people don't understand is just because you're slender does not mean you're metabolically healthy. And that's the case with people of Asian and Indian descent.
Oh.
If they're eating too many carbohydrates, they don't get fat like somebody with my DNA or your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
They do get the belly pooch, and then they just develop metabolic syndrome, and they get pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes in India and the Asian countries is epidemic proportions.
Wow.
It's probably higher than in the United States. But since they look slender, we think that eating lots of rice must be good for you.
Right. That's awesome. Okay. In terms of the high fat, and I did have one of my viewers ask about that. She said, they're getting older, they're loving the keto diet, but they're kind of afraid about the high fat nature of the diet. Should they cut it down due to heart disease? What are your thoughts about that?
Not. No, it's a great question. So heart disease, it's quickly becoming apparent for people who follow a keto diet or a carnivore diet that eating saturated fat has no negative consequences on human health whatsoever. But what's interesting is that the big agencies, the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, the Institutes of Health, they are slowly backing away from their previous stance that eating saturated fat's bad for you. And the American Heart Association has said that saturated fat is not a dietary thing of concern anymore. They removed the cap of how much saturated fat you should eat a day.
Mm-hmm.
They don't talk about it anymore. But they haven't issued a press release saying, hey, we were wrong about saturated fat. You can eat as much as you want. But they're backing away from this very slowly. They used to say, oh, if you eat high cholesterol foods, that's going to cause a heart attack. Now, all of them have backed away from that. They don't say that anymore. But since they didn't issue that press release to tell the average man and woman, the average man and woman still believes it's bad. Yeah. But it's not. It's very ancestrally appropriate to eat saturated animal fat. That's what we've eaten our entire time on this planet. Back 50,000 years ago, when everybody had a six-pack and muscles, right? Yeah. They ate as much animal fat as they could get their hands on. If they were starving to death, they would eat some veg. If the fruit was ripe in the fall, they would eat some berries. If they found a honey tree, they ate that. Yeah. But those were rare events. That's not something that happened on a daily basis. What happened on a daily basis is they ate lots of animal fat, as much as they could get their hands on. And their incidence of heart disease, in the few cases where we're able to find a mummified body, more than 10,000 years ago, because that's when the grain started, their arteries are squeaky clean.
That's amazing. And I had one viewer, and what was her question? It was, let's see, what was it? Keto long term, you just answered that. Oh, this was a question, and I'm curious about this too. If you're on keto, what about a cheat day once a week or a cheat meal? Does that screw you all up totally, or what's your feeling about that?
It depends. So, some people, when it comes to alcohol, they can take it or leave it. They can have a drink on Saturday night and then not think about alcohol again for 6 months.
I cannot. I haven't drank in 20 years. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Others of us, if we have a drink on Saturday night, we're probably going to have one on Sunday morning too. And then we go down that road to addiction and problems. And so there are some people eating keto or carnivore. I don't think they should ever have a cheat day. And I'm one of those people. Recently, we had the Christmas holidays. And Nisha and her friends made all kinds of keto treats and bars and cakes and pies. And I partook, and it woke up my carbohydrate addiction and my craving. And it took me 2 or 3 weeks before I stopped going to the cabinet at 6 p.m. going, do we have any of that whatever left?
I know. I'm exactly the same way. I went through a period where I was making the fat bombs and all that, and they tasted so good. But then I was like, oh, I want to make some more. And before you knew it, that's all I wanted to eat was those fat bombs. And
so that's
I can't handle it.
Right. And many of us cannot. We have what some people would call a carbohydrate addiction. And I'm one of those people. If it's a sweet tasting carb, I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to overeat it, and I'm going to eat it some more the next day. Now, others of us who are moderators, who can have that drink on Saturday night and then not think about alcohol for a month.
Yeah.
They can probably have an occasional, let's not say a cheat day, let's say a cheat meal.
Right.
Yeah, because if you're going to cheat the whole day, I mean, in the end, who are you really cheating?
Yeah.
Yourself.
Exactly.
You're cheating yourself out of good health. So I think an occasional cheat meal is not a big deal at all for many people. Other people need to watch that very carefully because they're abstainers and they need to avoid that completely.
Yeah, no, and I'm definitely one of those people. And the more I read about low carb and also addiction to alcohol, I think they're very linked because, alcohol is a sugar and I never could handle that. That's why I quit 20 years ago. And I really can't handle the carbs. It's like, put down those carbs. I can't handle them.
Many people who have addiction to alcohol, to nicotine, to other things, they find that breaking that addiction is much easier when they're eating a low carbohydrate diet. It's not easy. I didn't say easy. I said easier, right? Yep. Less hard. But I do think they're intimately connected in the way that they interact with your liver and with your brain. Yeah. And many of us are carb addicts, and we just need to look in the mirror and admit that to ourselves.
Yes. And isn't it frustrating for you, because you know this, you have this, you not only know the science behind it, but you know from a personal standpoint how much it helped you. I mean, you went from an overly carb addicted person that was almost 300 pounds to where you are today, totally healthy with all these great healthy markers and all that. Don't you sometimes look around anytime you go out in public and you see all of these hugely heavy people in our society and you're like, gosh, darn it. Why can't you find this out?
Yeah. And it makes me, we were just at a restaurant in a nearby city last night, as a matter of fact, and we were looking, and I would say 70% of the people in the restaurant were obese, if not overweight. And the entire time, Nisha and I sat there while we were eating our meal. I had a ribeye. She had shrimp and salmon, right? And while we were having our meal, we spent our entire conversation talking about what's that person, what's going to resonate with them in a YouTube video so that they can get it. How can I reach that person? What does this person, because we're all different, right? Some people, we don't hear this message, but we do hear that message.
Yes.
And so that's our entire dinner conversation was, how can we reach these people?
Isn't that awesome? Well, and it's funny. Another one of the questions that I had was, and I didn't really understand this question because they said, I'm thinking about doing keto, but how do you deal with the cravings when you go to keto? And to me, when I went to keto, I had a couple days of cravings, but then I had no cravings. So address that point. They think that there's a lot of cravings on it.
Carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms. And that's basically what the keto flu is. A lot of people talk about the keto flu, but if you're getting plenty of minerals and you're eating lots of nutrient-dense food, you're in no danger of converting to keto, because that's what your body's after with hunger is nutrition, right? Yeah. But carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms are quite severe in some of us. Others of us don't really notice it that much. Yeah. So carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms mirror the same exact symptoms of quitting cigarettes or quitting alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
They're the same. If you look up what are the symptoms of withdrawing from tobacco, it's headache, it's nausea, it's irritability, it's fatigue. Well, that's keto flu, isn't it? That's the cravings. Yeah. And if you look up alcohol withdrawal symptoms, they're a little more severe, but basically it's headache, fatigue, blurry, foggy thoughts, fatigue. I can't sleep good. Those are the same symptoms. Mm-hmm. And so for some of us, we have pretty severe carbohydrate withdrawal symptoms when we go keto. But you're absolutely right. After you've been on the ketogenic diet for a few weeks and you've broken the carbohydrate addiction, the cravings for me, it took maybe 3 or 4 months. For Nisha, it was 2 or 3 weeks, and she wasn't craving junk food at all. Yeah. But everybody, if they stay on keto or carnivore for long enough, the cravings just go away. And now, over the holidays I spoke of earlier, we went to families' houses in celebration, and they would have definitely non-keto treats. Yeah. Yeah. And I had zero interest in touching those. It's like, it is not worth it. It's just like an alcoholic who's been on the wagon for a year, and it's New Year's and they go to a bar and there's a beer. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Do not touch that beer, and do not touch your grandmother's lemon pie either.
Absolutely. It's about the same thing. It's I feel the same way when I see those treats. Darlene's like, don't you want this? And I'm like, no, I really don't. I
No,
think it insults her a little bit because she's like, don't deprive yourself. Well, it's not a deprivation to not have something that's going to make me hungry for the next 3 days and hate
right.
myself when I gain weight and can't lose it.
Exactly.
And I feel so bad emotionally for the women, especially out there, men too, but the women that, they have incredible hunger and they really don't know the reason. And all they need to do is switch to keto, even for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And all that hunger goes. And I've lost 10 pounds since I've been on the diet. But most importantly to me, I no longer crave food. I felt like I was an addict. And you feel less than. You feel less than when you can't control. Everybody's like, well, just have one cookie. I'm sorry. A sleeve of Oreos, I'm not going to eat just one. I'll probably eat the whole thing if I start.
Exactly.
So
I know I would.
I can't start. And
so let's talk about.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's talk about hunger for a second, because a
Yeah.
lot of people beat themselves up. Hunger is normal. Hunger is natural.
Mhm.
Hunger is necessary. We are when you need nutrition, your body and your brain make you hungry, and that's okay. That is not negative. That is not a defeat. That's normal when you're truly hungry. But when you're reaching for some carbohydrates every 2 hours because you think you're hungry, that's not real hunger. That's addiction. And so for some people, it's really hard to tease out the difference between addiction and hunger, because they feel the same to us, especially after we've been eating a high carb diet for decades. You can't tell the difference between the addiction calling you and true physiological hunger. So I want everybody out there to understand it's normal to have hunger, and it's normal to want to eat food. Those are not sins. You are not a glutton. It is okay to lust after real nutrient dense food. That's okay. But when you're craving junk, that's addiction. That's not true hunger. You've confused the two, and it's very easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, there's nothing like a little sirloin steak with butter on it. I mean, it's just really darn good. And so you do have to give up some of the sweet stuff, but I don't know. It's wonderful. And I lost weight, even though I really didn't look at portion size. I ate until I was full, and I ate really enjoyable food that I loved, and bacon, a lot of bacon. And I feel better than ever, and my weight is 10 pounds less, and I don't crave anymore, which is amazing.
And that's one of the beautiful things about the ketogenic way of eating and the carnivore way of eating is that we have hormones in our body, and that's what tells you when you're hungry. And that also, there are different hormones that tell you you're full. And when you eat nutrient dense food, like fatty meat, and people think meat's just protein or the fat's just fat, but meat is full of vitamins and minerals and all these nutrients that people don't realize are in meat. When you've eaten enough real food, your hunger hormones literally turn off your hunger. And that's what you were referencing earlier. So I just don't have that hunger anymore. And it's because you have eaten a nutritionally complete meal. And your body is satiated. It's like your hormones turn off the hunger, and you're like, boom, I don't have to think about food again for a long time. And the beautiful thing about keto and carnivore is you don't have to portion control, and you don't have to calorie count at all, because weight loss ultimately is not a physics problem with the law of thermodynamics and all that. It's a hormone issue. It's a physiological issue. And when you eat the food that your body's truly looking for, your hormones turn off that gnawing hunger, and you don't have to feel it all the time.
It's amazing. It is amazing. In fact, I did a video, what I eat in a day, and it was very high fat, and I thought I was going to get crucified. But a lot of the women were like, you totally explained who I am, that I just, confronted with a piece of cake, I want to eat the whole thing. And they loved the idea of a very high fat way of eating, with vegetables, because you've got to make sure you have that. However, you are going more into carnivore.
Yeah.
Are you doing that full time or?
Yeah, I actually started it as a 1 month challenge on my Facebook page. And at the end of that month, and so just a little backstory about me to help you understand. For my entire adult life, I've had severe heartburn, reflux. I'm talking about, I used to take 2 Nexium every day.
Oh.
When the drug rep for Nexium would come to the office and give us samples, the patients didn't get those. I took all those.
Absolutely.
I took 2 a day. Okay.
Yeah. One of the benefits.
When I converted from the standard American diet to paleo, my heartburn maybe got 20, 30% better, maybe a little. When I converted it to a fatty meat, heavy ketogenic diet, my heartburn got 80% better. And I went from taking 2 Nexium a day to maybe 1 or 2 Tums a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And so I did this carnivore challenge. And it was just when Sean Baker was getting really popular, the carnivore orthopedic surgeon. And I said, let's do a month of this carnivore. This crazy Sean Baker's doing this. And so at the end of that month, I had 0 heartburn at all.
Wow.
Hadn't taken a Tums in a month, hadn't even thought about it. Because, you know, when you don't have something, you don't think about it. But when they have it, you think about it all the time.
Yeah.
But it occurred to me, I haven't had heartburn in 30 damn days. What the heck? And so I said, you know, I think I'm going to just keep doing this. So I ended the challenge on my Facebook page, but I kept doing it. And it's about 22 months in now, and I'm 99% carnivore. All I eat is different cuts of fatty meat. I eat beef. I eat sheep. I eat goat. I eat eggs. I eat a little bit of full fat, real fermented cheese.
Right.
I'll use a little bit of heavy cream in my coffee here and there. But 99% of what goes in my mouth is animal-based food. And I have not had heartburn in 20 months. And for anybody listening who has severe heartburn every day, that would be miraculous to go from having severe heartburn every day to no heartburn ever. Right. And that's why I decided to stay carnivore, is for the heartburn benefits. And then also, I had lost a ton of weight on keto, but I lost an additional 25 pounds with carnivore.
Wow.
I'm in my lowest weight this morning. I weigh 225 pounds. And that's as low as I've been since I was probably 32 years old.
Wow. Congrats.
And I'm 52, by the way, just for full disclosure.
Well, and I'm 62, by the way. I've got you beat. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. The keto's working for you.
Well, thank you. You know, I look a lot healthier now since I've gone to keto, because as a vegetarian, I don't know, I just looked sick. And people were saying, are you sure you're okay? And I didn't see it in myself. I thought I still looked really good. But my husband, I thought he looked a little green around the gills, and he was kind of pale and pasty. It was not a beautiful look.
Well, here's what's going on with that. And so many women out there don't know what I'm about to say. And it's very, very important if you care about your look and you care about your skin. There are amino acids in meat that you cannot get from any plant. There are fatty acids in the fat part of meat that you cannot get from any vegetable. It does not exist in the plant kingdom. You have to have these amino acids and these fatty acids in order to rebuild healthy, beautiful, vibrant, tight skin.
Yes.
We replace every skin cell in our body every 3 months. So the skin that you have right now, you have completely made that in the last 3 months. All the old skin cells are gone. They die off about every 3 months.
Yeah.
And so that's why you were starting to get pretty pale and pasty and just you had no glow when you were a vegan, is because you were deficient in some of these amino acids and fatty acids, and probably also some of the vitamins and minerals that are found only in meat. When you went keto, by design, you had to eat more meat. And you said it took you a minute to get used to it.
Yeah.
But when you started eating fatty meat and eggs and real fermented full fat cheese, you started getting all those amino acids and all those fatty acids again. And so as your skin cells were replaced, they were replaced with younger looking skin cells, with younger acting skin cells.
Yeah.
And when your entire skin has been replaced every 3 months, that's why when people see people who have went keto 6 months ago, a year ago, and they haven't seen them in a year, right? And they see them, they're like, oh my God, did you have a facelift? What's going on with you? You look amazing.
Yeah.
That's because they are now giving their body the building blocks of beautiful skin. That's what's in fatty meat. And
my ladies are going to love you saying that. My ladies are going to eat this up.
You just can't get them from plants. I'm sorry. If you find plants from all over the world and you've got cargo ships and jet planes coming from every continent bringing you vegetables, you can almost get them all, but still not quite. But you can eat local fatty meat that was raised just down the road and get every amino acid and fatty acid you need for the most beautiful skin that you can have at your current age.
Yeah, that is awesome. And my women will respond so well to that. because that is, one of the main tenets of my channel is trying to be as good looking as we can be and healthy, beautiful, really skin that is nourished with oils, good oils, not the bad oils, but all that oil in the meat, it can't help but make us have more beautiful glowing skin.
Exactly.
Hey, Dr. Berry, let me look at my list and make sure I've gotten all these questions.
Yeah, sure.
Hold on just a second. Well, first, how long ago did you start your channel? Because you've got 1.5 million people. My gosh. When did you start? It's amazing.
About 3.5 years ago.
Ah, my God. Sorry to say God. That is incredible. You are really meeting people's needs. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is I'm giving people useful information that when they apply it to their life, it works. And so when something works, people tend to remember that when something actually works, right?
Yes.
And like you and the vegan diet, 4 years in, you're like, this is not working for me.
No.
And but when you find a way of eating that makes you not only feel healthier, but look healthier, and your lab values get better and you reverse chronic diseases, you're pretty likely to tell your family and friends about that way of eating. And if my video is how you found it, then you're probably going to tell them about my videos. And I think that's why it's grown so much, is because keto works.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, hold on. Let me see let's see. Well, they ask about the high fat, which we've already covered. Let's see. Okay, this person said, I benefited so much from Dr. Ken Berry's advice and wisdom, have lost 85 pounds and improved my health and gotten off all my meds but thyroid. Recently, I've not been losing. I'm a 1 meal a day faster too. Any ideas of how to shift a stall? It's been over 4 weeks since I've lost any weight and I'm eating very clean as always.
Yep. So first of all, it's not a stall until you've had no weight loss for at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh.
It's very common, especially in women, when you're losing weight fairly rapidly, for your body to put on the brakes, because you got to remember, women in the wild, right, thousands of years ago, you were the guys who had to carry a pregnancy. And in order to carry a pregnancy, you have to have a certain percentage of body weight, of body fat, right? You have to have that in order to successfully have a baby at the end of a pregnancy. And so in women's bodies, their body freaks out if you lose weight too fast. It's not that it's unhealthy, but your body doesn't know how old you are, right? It doesn't know if you're 30 or 60. It doesn't know if you've got a pregnancy coming up. And so in women's bodies, their body will often turn off the weight loss for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, even 6 weeks. Keep eating keto because you're getting hundreds of other benefits, right? You've already lost a ton of weight. But also remember that the last 20 pounds always takes the longest. That's that's how the human body's designed. As you approach your ideal body weight, the weight loss is going to slow down. And that's okay, because you still got all these great victories, both scale victories and non-scale victories.
Right.
So applaud yourself, congratulate yourself. Please tell me that you're sharing your story with all your friends and family, because they need the powerful information that you have access to.
Yeah.
And give it time. Just keep eating the proper human diet, which is a keto diet or a carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. And it's going to get there, but it's just going to take a while.
Awesome. So she just needs to be patient.
Yeah.
And boy,
also,
having lost 85 pounds, that's crazy. Incredible.
That's awesome, right? Also, I have a YouTube video about the 13 reasons why you might stall on a ketogenic diet. Watch that video and make sure you're not making one of those mistakes. But I bet you're not. I bet your body just put on the brakes. And after another week or two, the weight loss will pick up again.
Yep, little plateau. Okay, that's good. This person says, it's Pearl Chipione, who was one of my great subscribers that I've known for years. I've been on keto for over 40 years due to extreme food allergies. I find eating this way saved me. Obviously, it wasn't called keto when she started, but she was eliminating those things that caused her problems, so she loves it. Okay.
It's very common for people to go to keto or carnivore as an elimination diet. If they have autoimmune conditions, if they have gut conditions like Crohn's disease, irritable bowel, ulcerative colitis, going on an all meat and all fatty meat diet will make those symptoms completely disappear.
Nice.
And then they can start adding back in one veg at a time to see which vegetables, because there are many plants. If somebody has irritable bowel or Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, if they eat the wrong plant, they're going to be looking for the nearest bathroom at all times, right? Yeah. And when you find a diet that completely eliminates your bowel symptoms, that's a bit of a miracle for those people. And that's what keto and carnivore has done for many people. So many people have tripped and fallen accidentally into a keto diet because they found that it controls their psoriasis, their eczema, their bowel symptoms, their even their mental symptoms. There are tons of people that eat keto for mental health because it helps their mental health symptoms.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, this person said, I've been doing keto for a month now with OMAD, and I had to look that up, 1 meal a day, but still have floating stools. I'm concerned about gallbladder issues. Any advice?
You may have some gallbladder issues, and you might need to see your primary care physician to have that checked out. Keto didn't cause your gallbladder issue if you have one. Keto uncovered it, okay? Years and years of eating too many carbohydrates and not enough fat is what led to your gallbladder condition if you have one. Some people, it takes their bowels a month or two to adjust to the higher fat level of a ketogenic diet. That doesn't mean it's unhealthy or bad. That means that, first of all, your gut bacteria, you have to raise the level of this one and lower the level of that one to get used to the keto diet. And once you get the right gut microbiome, all of your bowel symptoms are going to go away. But I would see your doctor just to make sure the gallbladder is okay.
Now, and you bring up a point which I absolutely love. And in my work life, I have a chiropractic network, and I love my chiropractors. We're not chiropractors, but we credential them for insurance companies. But a lot of people tend to think, oh, somebody who's into keto, they're probably a chiropractor. Nothing against chiropractors, but the fact that you're a board certified family practice MD, you had all the medical training, and yet you have come to this as the most scientifically proven based, way to eat is wonderful. And the fact that you say, go to your doctor. Keto doesn't necessarily solve everything.
No.
You always have to have a good conversation with your doctor too.
Yeah. Even if you're eating a proper human diet, every now and then you're going to fall off the roof or get hit by a bus. You're going to need modern medicine. And that's why we have modern medicine. But the problem with modern medicine is when they try to manage chronic progressive diseases that are dietary diseases, but they try to manage them with medication. Yeah. And so type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, fatty liver, obesity, all these things are not medical diseases. They're dietary diseases. Yes. And so when you remove the offending fake food, the condition just goes away. It's almost like you were slowly poisoning yourself, but you just didn't know it. And then when you remove the poison, the symptoms of the poisoning, they just go away. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you've really cured your medical problem without a pill, which is the best way. Because that is another thing about my mother and father-in-law. They were each on like 12 medications. One of them was like $600 a month. They had to find a way to order it from Canada. I mean, they had them lined up, and that's no way to end up our lives, ladies. I mean, if we can avoid that, that would be a wonderful thing.
And when you're taking that many pills together, if you're taking 3 or more prescription medications, then you are absolutely having a side effect. There's no way you can't be. You may not realize it, but anytime you take 3 or more prescription drugs, you are having side effects.
Yes.
Either internal or external. You may not know it, but you are, because there are so many chemicals in there that the interactions, they don't just add up 1 + 1 + 1, they multiply and they're exponential. And so for somebody taking 12 different medications like your parents were, they were having a list of side effects, and probably in reality, they were taking some of the pills to treat the side effects from some of the other pills. That's probably the truth of the matter.
When I asked Darlene, why are you taking each one of these? She did not know.
Right. And that's the other big thing. Yeah. And doctors are great at prescribing medicines, but they're not really that good at de-prescribing medications. Yeah. And so anybody who decides to do the keto diet or the carnivore diet, if you're taking a blood pressure pill or 3 or 4, you're going to have to slowly decrease those and stop those as you continue to eat keto, or you're going to get, your blood pressure is going to go too low. You may pass out. And so you need to find a doctor who's comfortable with de-prescribing. So as your type 2 diabetes gets better, your doctor can help you lower the dosage and then ultimately stop the pill. If you're taking medication for an autoimmune condition, as you eat cleaner and cleaner keto, maybe even carnivore, you're not going to have the flare-ups of that autoimmune condition. You're not going to have the severe flare-ups. And so you probably won't need as much medication. You got to find a doctor who's comfortable unprescribing you from prescription medications.
Okay, we've kind of gone through this already, But she says, "Hi, Beth. This is amazing that Dr. Berry is doing a video with you. I watch your videos and I love Dr. Berry and his wife, Nisha, and their adorable baby. I also watch their live chats on Keto Carnivore. I'm curious about Dr. Berry and the carnivore diet. Please ask him to explain that diet, how long he's been on it, and what his experience has been on it. However, you did go through that. So maybe we've already done that one."
Yeah, well, I can just sum it up again. I've been eating it's an animal-based diet. So I only eat things that comes from animals, right? Mm-hmm. And right now, night before last, we had pigtails and hog neck. Okay,
you live in Tennessee.
That's right.
I was born in Knoxville, so I'm familiar with all that.
Nisha just showed me in the fridge. She went to the grocery, and now we have pig's feet. We're going to cook those in the Instapot. Yeah, I eat all cuts of fatty meat, mainly from beef. I feel best when I eat beef.
Me too.
Also, lamb is wonderful for me as well. Goat is wonderful, but it's hard to find. Pig and chicken are okay for me, but I don't feel as good if I eat a lot of pork or chicken. I feel my best when I eat beef.
Me too.
I've been doing it for about 21 months now. I have no intention of changing. On the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, my birthday, anniversary, I cheat on carnivore with keto. So that's a cheat for me, is to go back to keto. So I'll eat some roasted Brussels sprouts or something like that. That's my cheat meal. But on a daily basis, I eat meat. That's what I eat. And people will say, "Oh, how do you get your vitamins and minerals?" That's people who don't understand just how much nutrition is in meat. They don't understand that. They think that all the nutrition is in plants and that meat is just protein. But nothing could be further from the truth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and you've really answered this one too. But this person says, "Hi, Beth. Love your channel and keto. My husband and I are 70 and hearing a lot in the community about higher protein, lower fat at our ages. We've been keto for several years, but wish to lose a bit more weight. Higher protein, lower fat. Yes or no? Love the berries."
No, let's talk about this, because I think this is an important question.
Yeah.
First of all, if you're eating a high-fat, moderate protein, very, very low carbohydrate diet, I'm happy for you. If you're eating a high protein, moderate fat, very, very low carbohydrate diet, I'm also happy for you. Okay. I don't care if you eat high protein or high fat. I just want you to eat a very, very low carbohydrate diet, because that's where the bulk of the health benefits are going to come from. A good friend of mine, Dr. Ted Naiman, is a family doctor in Washington State. He wrote a book called The PE Diet, and he is a huge advocate of a high protein, moderate fat, still very low carbohydrate diet. And that works very well for some people. Other people like me, I don't know about you, but I do best with the highest fat ratio that I can get.
I like the fat.
I just do better. I enjoy my meals more, and I feel more vibrant, more alive when I'm eating a higher fat diet. So if anybody out there, if they're worried about eating high fat and they want to try a 90-day trial of a high protein, moderate fat, I'm 100% fine with that. I think that's a great experiment to run. You're not going to hurt yourself with it. Protein is good for you, not bad for you. Fat is good for you, not bad for you. The only thing that's bad for you is eating too many carbohydrates for your personal physiology.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that about the high fat, because I also love high fat. And this is so weird, because I always weighed 130 to 135 when I was a vegetarian, and I was always kind of puffy, I didn't feel like I looked my best. Right. And then I lost down very quickly 10 pounds to 120, and I'd like to be there. But one thing about the keto diet, which women will probably think this is a sad problem that I have, or not a sad problem, but I get down to 117, 116, and I'm getting to be gaunt. So I add, as my treat, a lot more butter on steaks and all of that, because it is weird. But ladies, if you're not hugely overweight to start, you will get to where you're a low weight, and you'll maybe go a little too low. So you'll have to buff it up with some more fat or something like that. It's a weird problem to have. I've never had that problem in my entire life. It was usually pushing the scale up to 140 and being worried about that. This is a weird problem to have.
And if you're getting a little bit underweight, adding more fat to your diet will help you get back up to your ideal body weight. Yeah. But I have issued this challenge numerous times, and I'll issue it to your listeners as well. I defy anyone to eat enough fat to actually get fat. Wow. It doesn't work that way. Your hormones will turn off your satiety. You will not be hungry, and you won't be able to force another bite of bacon down. But if I made that same challenge with eat carbs and try to get fat, everybody would win.
Oh,
that's what makes you fat is too many carbs.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I only have one more question, and it's an easy one. And then I just want to recap on the things that you think are important to tell my viewers. And ladies, if you like this video, well, I'll put all kinds of links to Dr. Berry and Nisha's channel below. And I hope you will go see those and also share this with your friends, because he's got a fantastic message. And I am here personally to say it works. And I was the biggest food addict of all. And I'm able to really feel like I don't even have that problem now following this diet. Okay, and this is an easy question. What vegetables are included and which ones are to be avoided on the keto diet? Also, what tips does Dr. Berry have to help us do the keto diet successfully? Maybe that's a good last one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the vegetables that you want to eat, first of all, I truly believe that let's talk about a plate, your dinner plate, right? If you're eating keto right, at least half of your plate, if not more, is going to be covered with fatty meat. And so you're going to have half a plate to a quarter of a plate of veg. And I've got a YouTube video. It's one of my most watched videos. It's got 3 million views about the 7 keto veggies that you can eat as much of as you want when you start keto. When you start, okay? Mm-hmm. Now you can't eat as many of these as you want forever, or your weight loss will stall at some point because you'll be eating too many carbohydrates at that point, right? But when you first start keto, there's 7 veg and they're delish, mostly the brassicas. Vegetables you want to avoid is anything that grows under the ground because they're going to be starchy, right? Yep. You want to avoid anything that has a high fructose content or a high sugar content. Mm-hmm. There are some vegetables that just have way more sugar than other vegetables. Nisha and I, we use a little garlic or a little onion as a flavor. You don't have to eat the whole onion. Just a little bit of mince is all you need to give the whole dish flavor, right? Mm-hmm. Even though they're root vegetables, you're not going to use the whole thing. But if you're trying to eat potatoes, even sweet potatoes, remember paleo, all the sweet potatoes, you're just not going to lose the weight that you want to lose. Right. So you want to stick with above ground, non-starchy, low carbohydrate, low sugar vegetables. And there's a pretty long list of those. And I talk about them in that YouTube video.
Thank you so much for doing this video. I was totally surprised to get in my email box something from Dr. Ken Berry. I mean, that's amazing. And the fact that you would do this, because I only have 145,000 subscribers in my 3 years, and it makes me feel a little unsuccessful that you have, in the same amount of time, he has 1.5 million. But that shows that message is really necessary and it's helping a lot of people, which is wonderful. Do you have anything you want to add to my viewers out there or to people about keto?
Every bite of food that you put into your mouth matters. Every bite of food is either a net positive for your health or it's a net negative for your health. Yeah. And you live with you and you suffer from what you suffer from. You also thrive and benefit from what you benefit from. Yeah. So every day that you make better choices, and you don't have to go 100% keto today, but if you just, the next time you go to the grocery, you buy some above ground non-starchy vegetables and you buy some cuts of fatty meat that you're not used to eating, and you leave off the sugar, the added sugar crap, and you leave off the grains, you just improved your health by that amount, right? And so it can start just that simply. And every time you go to the grocery, you're going to not buy some junk and you're going to buy more real human food. And when you've got a certain percentage of your diet on the proper human diet spectrum, your health is going to start to turn around and you're going to start to feel things and do things that you thought that you might never feel and do again.
And what a wonderful message that is, because the message on my channel is in our second half to try to make it our best half and to learn from the mistakes we made in the first half. And ladies, I made every dietary mistake known to man, and finding the keto has been a solution for me and obviously for probably millions of people out there. Yep. And in large part, thanks to people like Dr. Ken Berry. And thank you so much, Dr. Berry.
It's been a pleasure. You're a beauty. I can tell inside and out. And I'm here if you have questions or if you ever want to do this again, any way that I can help more people, that's what I'm put on this earth to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Take care.
See you later.
Bye.